Let me start with a direct question. How many things in your life right now are quietly waiting on a shelf marked later? Think about it. That half-read book collecting dust on your nightstand. That call you've been meaning to make for weeks. Or that idea, maybe even a dream, that's been lingering in the back of your mind, patiently waiting while you tell yourself, not yet. Here's the hard truth. Procrastination isn't just some minor flaw or casual habit. It's far more dangerous than that. Procrastination is a thief, a silent one. It sneaks in unnoticed and starts stealing your most valuable asset, your time. Then it robs you of momentum, and if you're not paying attention, it'll steal your future too. Because here's the reality. Life doesn't reward your good intentions. It rewards your actions. The people who rise, who win, who live fully, they don't wait until they feel ready. They take action, especially when it feels uncomfortable. Yes, especially when it's hard. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to break free from the grip of procrastination. Not next week, not someday, right now. We're going to get to the root of your delays, explore how to shatter that pattern, and build new habits, ones that push you forward step by step, moment by moment. Because let's be honest, your dreams aren't on hold. They're slipping away every time you make another excuse. And deep down, you already know that. So let's dive in. Procrastination. It's often called the silent thief of dreams. And for good reason. It doesn't barge in with a loud crash. It doesn't announce itself. It just quietly lingers in the background while you whisper to yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. But here's the cruel trick. Tomorrow never shows up for someone who's always waiting. Tomorrow fades into next week, and next week drifts into next year. And then one day, you're left with regret. Why is procrastination so tempting? Because it feels safe. It wraps you in the comfort of the familiar. You tell yourself, I'll start when I feel more inspired. But let me tell you something that might change your perspective. Motivation is a visitor. It comes and goes. But discipline? Discipline is the one who lives with you. It's the resident. Every time you postpone a task, you're not just avoiding work, you're training your brain to not act. You're conditioning yourself to pause, to hesitate, to stall. But life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards motion. I've seen it time and again. Brilliant people, full of ideas, full of promise, but stuck. Not because they failed at something. No, because they never even tried. And that's the real cost of procrastination. It's not just the missed deadlines. It's the lost chances, the growth that could have happened, the progress that could have been made. All wasted while waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. Let's be real. Doing something wrong is far better than doing nothing at all. A mistake you can learn from. But lost time? You can never get that back. While you're standing still, waiting for the stars to align, someone else is moving ahead. Not because they're more talented or more prepared, but because they had the courage to begin. Procrastination doesn't shout. It whispers. You've got time. You're not ready yet. Play it safe. But the truth is, growth doesn't live in safety. It lives in action. And the longer you delay, the louder fear gets, and the more your confidence shrinks. You don't need another strategy. You need a spark. So here's your challenge. What's one thing you've been putting off? Just one. Be honest. Name it. Write it down. Then, take 5 minutes. Just 5. Start. Send that email. Open that document. Take the first tiny action. Why? Because action is the antidote to anxiety. And those 5 minutes can shift your entire day. That's how momentum begins. And once momentum shows up, procrastination starts to lose its power. If you really want to conquer procrastination, you must stop negotiating with your comfort zone. Stop waiting for the perfect mood. Stop waiting, period. You need to decide that now actually means now. Because procrastination doesn't care how ambitious your dreams are. It only needs one thing from you: your permission to delay, Don't give it that. Your dreams, they're not asking for you to be perfect. They're just asking you to show up. Not someday, today. You don't need more hours. You need a stronger decision. You don't need better conditions. You need a sharper mindset. So take that step, the very first one. Because when you do, you'll break the cycle of hesitation and build the habit of forward movement. We uncovered a critical truth. Your progress doesn't begin with a calendar. It begins with your mindset. Now let's take that one step deeper. Most people assume that action begins with a schedule, but that's a mistake. True action begins with belief, and belief is rooted in how you see yourself. If deep down, you view yourself as someone who always delays, who always falls short, who constantly puts things off, then without even realizing it, you'll keep proving that identity true, again and again. That's the silent danger of a fragile mindset. But here's the powerful alternative. Shift your thinking, and everything starts to shift with it. When you tell yourself, I'm a person of action, I take responsibility, I don't need perfect timing, I only need a purpose. Suddenly, you have power. You create movement. You reclaim your momentum. Let me share the moment my own life changed. I stopped waiting for the right day, and I started becoming the right person. Because once you become the right person, every day becomes the right day. Let's be honest. You can't rewind time. You can't erase yesterday. But you can take control of your thoughts, your reactions, and how you show up right now. Your mindset is the filter through which you see the world. It determines whether obstacles break you or build you. Whether you say, let's go, or whisper, maybe later, and your mind, it's clever. It will always find a reason to wait. It'll say, you're too tired. Start tomorrow. Let's think a little more before acting. But in those moments, you must rise above that voice with a louder, stronger one. The voice that declares, I do what needs to be done, even when I don't feel like it. That is discipline. That is identity. That is what separates doers from dreamers. You don't need to feel ready to take the first step. Readiness is not what starts the journey. It's what comes as a result of it. The mindset that wins says, I'm responsible. I'm capable. I'm not waiting for the perfect opportunity. I'm building it. And once you internalize that, procrastination loses all power. So here's a challenge. Before writing down your next task, pause and ask yourself, what kind of person do I need to become to complete this? Because once you focus on your identity, the actions will naturally follow. It's not about time management. It's about mind mastery. And the moment you shift your mindset, your results will start shifting too. Now, speaking of shifts, there's one particular concept that changed the entire way I approach action. It's called the law of diminishing intent. And trust me, once you understand it, you'll never look at waiting the same way again. If you ignore this truth, you'll become a collector of ideas, but never a creator of results. But if you embrace it, if you learn to act quickly, even in the smallest ways, your life will start to shift with surprising speed. Make the choice to be that person, the one who moves while others plan, the one who starts while others wait. Because success doesn't wait for the right time, it follows the one who creates it. So let's build that habit right now. Start by breaking the big into small, and then do the first thing. One of the most common reasons people fall into procrastination isn't laziness, it's feeling overwhelmed. The dream looks massive, the goal feels far, the mountain seems too tall, and when you stare up at something so big, your brain freezes. You think, where do I even begin? And instead of starting, you stall. That's not weakness, that's overload. But here's a mindset shift that will change the game. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. You only need to take the first step. Simplify the process. Break the big thing into tiny pieces and then take one small doable action. The mind craves clarity. It loves direction. But when your goals feel tangled and too complex, It retreats into delay. You distract yourself with low-priority tasks that feel productive, but lead nowhere. So here's the way out. When the goal feels too big, slice it down. Break it into digestible pieces. Turn write a book into write a single paragraph. Turn get fit into go for a 10-minute walk. Turn start a business into make a list of 5 people to connect with. Because the magic doesn't live in finishing, it lives in beginning. Progress is sparked not by thinking through every step, but by doing one. And let me let you in on a truth most people overlook. The very first step is always the hardest. Not because it's physically demanding, but because it shatters the wall of hesitation. Once you push through that invisible resistance, something shifts inside you. Doubt begins to melt into movement. Confusion gives way to focus. And fear starts to loosen its grip. Here's the key. You don't have to have it all figured out to start. Just begin with what you do know, and that one step will start showing you the rest. You don't have to solve the whole puzzle today. Just place the first piece. Break the project down until it feels too easy not to begin, and then act, right then and there. Because that tiny win, it unlocks momentum. That one step builds belief. And before long, you're not thinking about the overwhelming mountain anymore. You're climbing. So, take a moment now and ask yourself, what's one big thing I've been putting off? Then follow it with another question. What's the smallest possible action I can take toward it? Today? Not tomorrow? Not when I feel like it? Today. Maybe it's making a phone call. Maybe it's opening a file. Maybe it's setting a timer and just working for 5 minutes. Whatever it is, start right now. Because that one small action, it's the lever that moves everything else. Always remember, success doesn't come from doing everything perfectly. It comes from doing something consistently. So don't let the size of your goal intimidate you. Shrink it down. Get moving. Let the magic of small steps carry you forward. Because the journey, it belongs to the one who begins. Let that person be you, starting today. And now that you've taken that first step, it's time to understand the glue that holds progress together. The force that turns intent into real achievement. That force is discipline. And that's exactly what we're about to explore next. But once you begin, how do you keep going when the excitement fades? That's where the real power lies, in discipline. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. It's the link between saying you'll do something and actually seeing it happen. Between dreaming and delivering. And here's the hard truth. Without discipline, the best ideas die untouched in forgotten notebooks. Without discipline, your strongest intentions crumble under the weight of distraction. Without it, your future doesn't become a reality. It stays a wish. Let's break this down. Everything starts with intent. You decide what you want. You set a goal. You feel that surge of motivation, that spark of energy. That's great, but it's not enough. Because the world doesn't reward people for being inspired. It rewards people who follow through. It rewards those who show up again and again, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. That's what consistency looks like. That's what results demand. And that's exactly where discipline steps in. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when every fiber of you wants to do something else. It's getting out of bed when it's easier to stay warm under the covers. It's choosing to focus on your goal when the world is pulling you in a dozen different directions. It's picking growth over comfort, responsibility over excuses. Discipline doesn't ask, "How do you feel today?" It asks, "What did you promise yourself?" And then it makes sure you show up for that promise. But don't confuse discipline with punishment. It's not something you force on yourself. It's something you do for yourself. It's not restriction, it's protection. It's the structure that keeps your dreams from falling apart. In fact, discipline is a gift you give to your goals. So, what do you do when motivation runs out? You replace it with habit. Let me ask you this. Have you ever woken up fired up, ready to conquer your day, only to crash and burn by midday? That's motivation. It's fleeting. It's emotional. It doesn't last. That's why the most important thing you can learn is this. If you want long-term results, you must stop chasing motivation and start building habits. Motivation is the spark. It gets things going, but it's habit that keeps the fire alive. What keeps your progress alive? The small things you do every single day? Not occasionally? Not when you feel like it? Every day. That's where real success is built. Not in the moments you leap high, but in the moments you walk steady, especially when you're tired. Here's where most people get it wrong. They wait to feel motivated. They say, once I feel like it, I'll start. But feelings follow action, not the other way around. You don't wait until you feel good to do the work. You do the work, and that act creates the feeling. Successful people don't rely on emotion. They rely on structure. They've built routines that keep running, no matter their mood. And that's the power of automation. You don't need to fight yourself every single day. You've trained your mind and body to support your success. Building that kind of habit isn't magic, it's repetition. It's doing the right thing long enough that it becomes part of who you are. And here's the best part. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Start small, be specific, and repeat. Want to get in shape? Don't start with 2-hour workouts. Begin with a 10-minute walk. Want to write a book? Don't wait for inspiration. Set a 15-minute timer and write something. Anything. Make the action so simple it feels impossible to fail. Make it non-negotiable. Make it part of your identity. Because here's the truth. Motivation starts the race, but habit is what finishes it. If you want to live with discipline, confidence, and fulfillment, you need habits that support you, especially on the days when your motivation disappears. So, what's one small thing you can turn into a daily habit starting today? Not next week, not when it's convenient. Today. Write it down. Keep it simple. Commit to it. Let it be consistent enough to grow, even if it starts small. Because motivation is the push, but habit is the engine. And once your habits are working for you, you won't have to chase success. Success will start chasing you. There's one more element you must have to keep progressing: clarity. Because without clarity, even discipline can lose its direction. Let's talk about that next. Earlier, we uncovered the power of clarity. How knowing exactly what you want, why it matters, and how to begin gives you the upper hand over fear. Now let's take that clarity and turn it into momentum, because once you're no longer guessing, you're leading. And that shift, that's the moment you reclaim control. So here's a challenge for you right now. Don't just think about your goal. Write it down. Grab a pen. Be specific. What do you want to achieve? Why does it matter to you? What are the exact steps that can take you there? Then move. Don't overthink. Don't let the light of clarity dim while you're standing still. Action breathes life into vision. Because the truth is, clarity without action is just a more organized form of procrastination. If you're feeling stuck, the answer isn't more hours in the day. It's more precision, more honesty with yourself, more focus. You either get clear and move forward, or stay vague and stay stuck. The choice has always been yours. So how do you break through that stuck feeling and ignite urgency? You manufacture it. Let's get honest. Most people don't take bold action without a sense of urgency. We talk, we plan, we dream. But unless there's a fire under our feet, we stay where we are. That's why urgency is everything. Urgency creates clarity. It sharpens your focus. It compels action. Without it, even your greatest goals quietly fade into the background. Noise of life. So, how do you build urgency when it isn't there? 2 ways: deadlines and public commitment. Let's start with deadlines. A goal without a deadline? That's just a wish. It drifts. It floats in your mind with no real pull. But the moment you assign a finish line, something changes. A clock starts ticking. That idea becomes real, tangible, unavoidable. Deadlines are powerful tools. They force a decision. They remove the option of someday. A true deadline says, by this day this will be done, or I will answer for it. And make no mistake, this isn't about pressure meant to punish you. It's pressure meant to move you. Real deadlines focus your attention. They strip away distractions. They force you to prioritize. And when priorities rise to the top, procrastination has nowhere to hide. But if you want to double your urgency, go one step further. Make a public commitment. Say it out loud. Share it with a friend. Tell your mentor. Announce it to your team. Post it on social media. Put your goal out into the world with a clear date attached. Why? Because now it's not just your private intention, it's part of your reputation. And reputation is powerful fuel. When you commit publicly, the stakes rise. You invite accountability. You create ownership. Suddenly, it's no longer just about the task. It's about showing yourself and the world that you follow through. Now, don't confuse this with performance or ego. This isn't about impressing others. This is about integrity. It's about proving to yourself that your word means something. Here's a simple formula that works. Set the goal. Set the deadline. Say it out loud. Take the first step today. Don't. Keep your goals locked in a hidden notebook. Bring them into the light. Let them breathe. Let them push you. Let them shape you into someone who finishes. Because here's what I've learned after working with so many people. Deadlines create direction. Public commitments create pressure. And when applied with intention, pressure creates progress. If you want to win, raise your level of responsibility. Make it uncomfortable to back out. Build a system that makes quitting the harder choice. So ask yourself, what's one important goal you've been hiding from the world? What's one result you've been quietly postponing? Set the date. Tell someone who matters. And then start now. Because the time for vague intentions is over. The time for urgency is here. Decide, declare, deliver. That's how transformation begins. And we're not talking about just one obstacle, but three. A deadly trio that quietly steals more dreams than failure ever could. Perfectionism, distraction, and excuses. Let's start with the first one, perfectionism. At first glance, perfectionism may seem noble, even admirable. After all, who doesn't? Want to do things well? But let's not be fooled. Perfectionism isn't about the pursuit of excellence. It's rooted in fear. Fear of being judged. Fear of not being enough. It whispers, don't start until it's flawless. Don't share your work until it's bulletproof. Don't launch that idea. It might not be good enough. And while you wait for everything to be perfect, time slips by. Opportunities vanish. And slowly, quietly, your courage begins to fade into silence. Here's the hard truth. Done is better than perfect. Progress will always beat perfection. The world doesn't need your flawless work. It needs your real work. Your honest, growing, imperfect work that shows up consistently and keeps improving. Now let's talk about the second trap, distraction. We live in an attention economy. Everything, from apps to ads to alerts, is designed to steal your focus. Notifications buzz. Feeds scroll endlessly. Multitasking feels like the norm. And if you don't actively protect your attention, you'll lose entire days chasing things that don't move you forward. Distraction feels productive. It gives the illusion that you're busy. But here's the truth. Activity is not achievement. You must treat your focus like a sacred resource. Because it is. Set clear boundaries. Create an environment where your attention thrives. Use time blocks. Sections of your day dedicated to doing just one thing with full effort and zero interruptions. That's how real progress is made, and Finally, the third trap, excuses. Let's be real. Excuses are lies we tell ourselves to avoid discomfort. I'm too tired. I don't have time. I'll start tomorrow. But here's what people often forget. The people who succeed, they get tired too. They have doubts. They're busy. But they act anyway because here's the principle. If you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. Yes, excuses might make you feel better in the moment, but they will cost you dearly over a lifetime. They are chains disguised as comfort. So what's the solution? Call out the traps, expose them, name them, and then move forward anyway. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. You don't need more time. You need more discipline. You don't need the right mood. You need the next move. So take a moment now and ask yourself, which of these traps catches me most often? Is it perfectionism, distraction, or excuses? Write it down. Make it visible. Then build a plan to defeat it. Because here's the truth. The real enemy of execution isn't failure, it's delay. And these three traps are masters of delay. Don't let them rob you of another day. Break free, even if it's messy, even if it's not perfect, even if it's hard. Because momentum begins the moment you take action on what you said you'd do. Now that you know how to expose the traps, it's time to build a system that keeps you moving every single day. Let's talk about how to design a daily routine. That doesn't depend on mood, but forces progress, even when motivation runs low. How building structure into your day can create momentum that carries you, even when motivation runs dry. Now let's take that idea further and turn it into something practical, something you can live by, starting tomorrow. Here's a simple but powerful truth. Your routine should pull you forward. It shouldn't wait for you to feel inspired. It should be designed to work even when you don't want to. Start your morning by reviewing your goals. Read something that sharpens your thinking. Set the tone with purpose, not by accident. Because when your day begins with clarity, you give yourself direction before distractions can take over. And here's a tool most people overlook. Track your habits. Yes, write them down. Check them off. Monitor your progress. Because what gets tracked gets done. When you measure it, you multiply it. It's no longer vague. It becomes real, visible, tangible. And that visibility creates momentum. Now maybe you're thinking, but I don't want my life to feel robotic. Let me reframe that. A powerful routine doesn't restrict you. It frees you. It clears the mental clutter. It removes guesswork. It reduces stress. You're no longer spending energy wondering what to do next, because it's already decided. Discipline builds structure. Structure creates consistency. And consistency is what delivers results. So start small. What's one simple routine you can begin tomorrow morning? Not 5 things, not 10, just one. Pick it, anchor it, make it a non-negotiable part of your day. Then, once it's in place, layer on another. Because lasting transformation doesn't come from one massive choice. It comes from small, repeated design, day in, day out. Design your day so progress becomes automatic, so excellence becomes normal, so success becomes a matter of when, not if. You don't need more hours. You need a stronger structure, one that supports your best even on your worst days. Build it, live it, refine it, repeat it, and watch what happens when you stop planning the life you want and start living it now. So here we are, at what seems like the end of this journey. But in truth, this isn't the end. It's just the beginning. Because ideas alone don't change your life. Goals alone won't make things happen. Plans are just words on a page without action behind them. You've heard the strategies. You've gained the tools. You've learned what's been holding you back. Now it's your turn to decide. Because the gap between where you are and where you want to be, that gap is action, not more thinking, not more planning, not waiting for the right time. Just one decision to begin. Start now. Start small if needed, but just start. Procrastination isn't a time issue. It's a decision issue. And the decision is right in front of you. Will you move or will you wait? Let me remind you of this. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. You don't need to have it all figured out. Just take the first step. You don't need to be confident to finish, only courageous enough to begin. So get up, get focused, get serious. Set your alarm earlier. Make your to-do list shorter. Make your habits stronger. Clear away the noise. And above all, become the kind of person who follows through. Because this isn't just about checking boxes or being productive. This is about identity. About becoming the person you're proud of. Someone who lives with purpose, direction, and consistency. So don't just dream about the life you want. Live it now. You've waited long enough. The rest of your life? It's not written on a calendar. It begins with what you choose today. So let's go. Let's move. Let's build. Because the clock is ticking. And your best days aren't in the past. They're still waiting to be built. One decision, one action, one disciplined day at a time. You've just spent the last few minutes not just listening, but reflecting, questioning, and hopefully deciding. And now, one truth remains. Your future isn't built in one giant leap. It's built in the quiet, consistent decisions you make every single day. You don't need to wait for motivation. You don't need to wait for clarity. You don't need to wait for perfect timing, because the most powerful move you can make is to start now. So here's your moment. Not tomorrow, not one day, today. Take one step, make one commitment, build one habit that shifts your direction, and then do it again tomorrow. Because your discipline isn't just shaping your productivity, it's shaping your identity. The best version of you isn't waiting at the finish line. It's built in the process. One decision, one action, one day at a time. If this video gave you clarity, motivation, or a nudge to act, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button to let the algorithm know this message matters. And if you're serious about growth, purpose, and action, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. The clock is still ticking. But this time, you're not watching it. You're moving with it. Let's go.